Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.
What's up, gang? Welcome to the G.R.I.N.D. Simon Arias here. Get ready, it's a new day. What's up, gang? Welcome to another episode of the G.R.I.N.D. Get ready, it's a new day. And now we're a little bit into our 2021 game plan, halfway through the month or so. And you're at this point where you got to remind yourself that you're going to stick to what you told yourself that you were going to do this year. Don't start falling off, regressing, making negotiations for what you planned on, what you wrote down, what you thought about, what you said you were going to do in 2021. So there's a couple things that I wanted to point out that I think are controllables that'll help you be successful on your journey. The first one is attitude. So I Googled it. I looked it up. I wanted to see the definition. Attitude. Attitude, it said, was a settled way of thinking or feeling about perceived things. A settled way of thinking or feeling about perceived things in the way that you look at things. So you could almost look at it and say, okay, the way that I'm settled in my mind of the way that I think or the way that I'm feeling about something, the way that I look at something, that's a choice. Your attitude could be dictated by the way that you're looking at something or the way that you're perceiving something. And so you got to watch to allow your mind to go negative on you is to start to fail yourself. So you have to look at the words that start coming up in your mind, such as, you know what, when things don't go your way in your mind, start thinking things are going to pick up. I'll make it happen. Even though this was a setback, all things are going to be working in my favor this year. Anything that comes my way that's a little bit rougher is only going to make me better. It's the position of way you look at something. It's the way that you perceive things. So for example, our struggles, are they really struggles? Your attitude. You know, even when you look at some people that had it rougher, you know, growing up, when you compare that to another country or a third world country or somebody that really, really grew up in a jacked up situation, is your situation really that bad? Or so many people lost, you know, I have a friend of mine that lost his mom at 12 years old. You know, if the unfortunate situation happens and you lost a grandparent at 70, 80 years old or whatever, do you look at it and say from the perspective of it's always too soon, but I had this person for 35 years of my life. So many people don't even have that opportunity. So many people lost their own parent before they were 13. It's the way that you look at something, the perception that you look at something, that's going to dictate your attitude. A negative attitude gets you negative results. A positive attitude gets you positive results. And think about, when do you need a positive attitude? You need a positive attitude when things are not going your way. This is when I think people truly, when you start to separate yourself to be successful, it's when things don't go your way, can you stay positive? You know, I had a conversation recently with a friend of mine that's super successful, and we were both talking about how the minute that you start to have a certain amount of success, there's people that are going to want to take it from you. They want to take some of it from you, whether it's creating lawsuits or whatever that it really has no relevance. There's no even truth to it, but it's part of the system that we're in. This person also was talking to me about they're not from this country. So he was talking about here in America, we don't even realize sometimes the opportunity that we have. That even in our worst days, right here in one generation, you can live the American dream. As many imperfections as we have here in America, you could look at somebody, we could all point at somebody, whether it's a music producer, an actor, somebody that started a business, an entrepreneur, that in one generation, they changed their whole life. And he was telling me how in other countries, a lot of these other countries, third world countries, if you work really hard and go through some major obstacles and setbacks a lot harder than they are here, maybe you can impact at this level your grandchildren or your children, but not in one generation. It's so difficult. And so immediately I'm just thinking to myself, how grateful I am to have had the privilege to grow up in the United States of America. And so it's from the roots of the way that you're looking at things that's going to determine your attitude. Are you looking at everything from a negative perspective or from a positive perspective? And if you're trying to build a positive life, you got to look at it from a positive perspective. Your attitude could even be looked at. The second part, you know, they have the first line of the definition. The second definition that I saw is it said a position of the body proper to or implying an action or mental state. A positioning of your body that kind of shows your mental state. So your body and your mind are connected. So if you have negative body language, it reflects a lot of times a negative energy and a negative attitude. And so if you want to start having a better attitude, look at what you're saying, the words that are coming out of your mouth, look at your body, your posture, and look at the way that you're looking at things from your perspective, how you think of things, how you speak of things, how you look at things. Are they from a positive set or a negative set? And don't take the bait. A lot of times the people that tend to attract or engage in more negativity, they say that they're just a realist. They're just accepting life for what it is and being real. I'm all about being real. I think you need to be real. But I also think that you got to understand that you dictate your life by the words that you speak, the thoughts that you think. And there's research done on this. There's books read on this. There's people that have made it from the mud to where they want to be, that have made their dreams come true, that talk about this. Any way you slice it, even though things suck, even though things are difficult, even though things are hard, even though it's easy to say all I'm doing is being real, talking about the conditions for what they are, you can't neglect the fact that it's difficult to build anything positive in your life with a negative attitude. And so if it's a positive attitude that we seek, it starts with your perspective on the way that you're choosing to view a certain setback, a certain obstacle, and believing that it's going to happen for you. Pressure is a privilege. I get to, not that I got to. Does your faith waver as soon as you don't get the result that you want? You know, there was a scripture in Proverbs, and those of you guys, you know, I try to read a chapter a day of Proverbs. It says, if you faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. That means when you have adversity, when you need the strength, when you need the attitude is at that moment. There's also one that I like that's in Galatians 6:9. It says, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Let us not become weary in doing good. Don't get tired in the process when you know that you're doing the right thing, or get sick of it. I'm doing the right thing, but I'm not getting the immediate result right now. For at the proper time, you will reap a harvest if what? If you don't give up. The harvest that you're waiting for is on the other side of the obstacles that you need to not grow weary in. You need to stay persistent in, stay positive in. On the other side of that, on the other side of all of that stuff is your reward. After the attitude part you master, you got to master your effort. Two controllables: effort So I looked up effort. What's effort? Effort, a vigorous or determined attempt, it says. A vigorous or determined attempt. That's effort. So you got to be determined. So I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. So vigorous for me, I had to go look and see, well, what the heck does vigorous mean? So I had to look up what does vigorous mean. It said vigorous is endowed with bodily or mental strength or vitality. So mental toughness, vigorous. So effort is vigorous or determined attempt. Vigorous meaning physical and mental strength, being vigorous, being mentally strong. It requires you being mentally strong in order to give the effort, maximum effort, and a determined spirit. When do you need a determined spirit? When things are difficult. When things are hard. You don't need a determined spirit when things are easy. When you're doing things that you love. Effort requires you to do the things with aggression, with passion, with execution, with energy, doing the things that are difficult. That's what they're talking about, effort. A vigorous or determined. You got to be determined. That means nothing in your way. And so it said determined. What is determined? Determined. Having made a firm decision and being resolved to not change it. Determined. So that means you're just dead set with this effort of whatever it takes. I've made a firm decision that I'm not going to change it. I'm going after whatever I said I'm going after with maximum energy, maximum effort, and I'm not changing it. I'm dead set on it. I'm attacking it. That's the type of effort that it's going to take to win championships. And the third thing is mindset. All the things that it don't really take a lot of talent, attitude, effort, mindset. So I was looking at a book this week and they were talking about growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. A growth mindset that's focused on growth and growing, and a fixed mindset that kind of becomes a victim and says that I don't have any control. And so I'll just make some comparisons that stuck out. They said the growth mindset rises to challenges. You understand on your journey that there's going to be challenges. The challenges is your price of admission. And the bigger the game, the higher the price. I just had the privilege to go to the Browns-Steelers game this week, and a friend of mine would have me in his box. Shout out Emery and Armina Stone. And so it was only friends, close family members, or people that had a box that could go to this playoff game. And I started a friend of mine that came with us because my dude had me, my wife, and my friend come. He's a huge Steelers fan. I'm a Browns fan. And so he looked it up and he said, man, I was looking at tickets to get a box and it was a couple $1,000s for a ticket. The bigger the game, here's what it made me think of. High supply of something. If there's a lot of tickets, there's a lower demand. So that means you could get a ticket for a couple $100. If there's a low supply, it means there's not a lot of these tickets. Then there's a high demand. It means you're going to pay a bigger price tag for that. The goals that you have set out for your life, often some of the big ones that you have, they have a high price tag. Think about what your dreams are, what your goals are. High price tag. A lot of people want to accomplish those things. Not a lot of people are willing to pay the price to accomplish those things. And so they said a growth mindset rises to challenges. That means when challenges come, instead of quitting or giving up or turning back the other way, they rise. A fixed mindset avoids challenges. Soon as there's a challenge, soon as it becomes difficult, soon as it becomes hard, I'm easy to deter from chasing my goals and dreams. Don't let that be you. Growth mindset, they accept criticism. They understand that in order to grow, somebody's going to have to coach them. Somebody's going to have to point out their imperfections. Somebody's going to have to find ways that they could get better. They're open to it. Fixed mindset, they ignore feedback. They don't want feedback. Growth mindset, they're always open and trying to learn new things. Fixed mindset, they give up if you can't do something. Soon as it's a little difficult, if it ain't easy, if it's off the beaten path, they're not on it. Growth mindset, they develop their abilities. So they take what they have, the skill set they have, and they understand I'm going to work. I have to put work into it. I'm going to make my abilities better by developing them. In a fixed mindset, they rely on fixed abilities. That means I'm just going to work with what I got. Not going to put in any effort to grow and get better because it's tedious, it's monotonous, it's not as much fun. Growth mindset, they find inspiration in the success of others when other people are having success. Thinking, oh man, that person hit that number, that could be me. I'm inspired by what that person, what that entrepreneur, what this person did or accomplished, that could be me. In a fixed mindset, they're threatened by the success of others. They got a scarcity mentality of, oh man, if that person's having success, I got to hate on them because it must mean that I'm less than or I have less of an opportunity. Instead of understanding there's a big world out here. We can all get some. Everybody can get a piece. Somebody else's success doesn't mean that you're going to be less successful. It's okay to be inspired by other people and success of other people and to root for other people. Think about the word mindset. Mindset, what is your mind set on? Whatever your mind is set on, I'll find a way to make this happen. So you hear about people talking about these things. It's like, oh yeah, what effort, attitude, mindset, something we've heard since we were kids. What do you even mean by this stuff? These three things can set you apart if you can get consistent in giving maximum effort, outworking people. Many people want to be a star. Few people are willing to put the work in that it requires to be a star. Effort, unwavering, attitude, being positive when hard things happen to you, being positive when we need you to have a positive attitude. It's easy to have a positive attitude when you got your biggest paycheck, sun shining, everything's going good at home, business is cranking. That's easy. That don't take any major strength. But when things aren't going your way, when maybe there's a setback, you don't feel as good, it's a little bit cloudy outside, how's your attitude then? How's your body language then? How's the words that you speak? How's your perspective on something that happened in your life? Are you looking at it from a positive standpoint in the way that you're choosing to look at something, or a negative standpoint? And then what's your mindset on? My mindset is we're winning. The mindset of this is what we set out to do in 2021. What is your mindset on? You were made to be great. We got one shot at this thing called life. You're in 100% control. You know, I believe, well, God's in control, but I mean, you have to take control of your life. We can't just, I'll give it to God and just walk blindly. You have to do some work yourself. I heard T.D. Jakes say one time, God will give you the tree. You got to make the table. God will give you the wood. You got to build the table. You got to put in the effort yourself. There's people all out here around you making stuff happen. Don't begrudgingly look at these people. Be inspired by these people and remind yourself that you were made for greatness yourself. Whatever your goal is that you set out to achieve this year, you're good enough to do it. If it was on your heart and on your mind for a reason, that means that it was supposed to be there. Now you got to be strong. You got to be steadfast. You got to have that mindset. You got to have that work ethic. You got to put that effort in. You got to stay positive. When you see somebody else out there doing something that broke a record, that did something special, just let that inspire you that you're next. That's you. Write your goals down and look at them consistently. What were the goals that you wrote down for 2021? What were the goals that you wrote down for January? Are you looking at these consistently every day, every week? Reminding yourself of what you set out to do. Life will throw you curveballs. Not everything in the news and media will be positive. Not everything in your life will be positive. Not everything is going to be easy for you. But stay joyful. If you're strong enough to make it this far, you're strong enough to make it to the next level. If you're taking time out of your day to listen to something like this, it means that you care. There's something in you that wants to grow, that wants to go to the next level. And I look at it as a privilege that you would spend time investing time in your life into the words that I speak and into me. I'm only a human. I'm only a person. I'm only a person that didn't give up, and I'm on this journey and I'm on this grind with you. Not every day goes the way that I want. Not everything that I do am I saying, oh man, I'm proud of that. I'm happy the day went that way. I make mistakes. I fall short. Sometimes I say things I wish I don't say. So I'm on this growth journey with you. I'm on this grind. I'm on this grind with you. But we got to make a commitment. We got to make a commitment to ourselves and to the people that are looking up to us, for the people that we're sacrificing to create an opportunity for. To remind yourself we're in the United States of America, and in one generation you could change everything. What a privilege that is. If this helped anybody, if this encouraged anybody, do me a favor and share the grind with other people so we can start to impact other lives together. Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Grind. Get ready, it's a new day.
Count money, man. Stack riches. Try and told him I'm a beast, bud.